made you decide to work on? Talk about boring. I mean, this is Andrew Carnegie got his stuff where you're
Yes.
buying these foundries, but these are
Yeah.
non-ferrous foundries, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, so it's mainly aluminum. Generally speaking, for people, what it amounted to is when I graduated, seven undergrad in electrical engineering, everybody that I graduated with went into computers, software, et cetera. I went in and did more manufacturing, generally speaking. So it was one of those things where just continued to grow up in manufacturing. When we were working there, so my last 4 years roughly of being in corporate as a general manager, one of the divisions at General Electric, and just thought that there was a real need for local US based manufacturing. I think there's absolutely a need for product being manufactured in Mexico and India and China and everywhere else, but there's also a niche of products and a need to build those here in the US. So didn't really care what manufacturing. I'd run so many different manufacturing operations in my life that it was, I would say, a little bit of a widget. Didn't really matter to me what widget it was.
Mhm.
Happened to find a foundry for sale that I could buy 100% of with an SBA deal. And, here we are 5.5 years later and about to do number seven.
That's fantastic. So what do foundries in the middle of the country look like in revenue and multiples? And was the
No,
seller kind of reasonable about his
oh
asking
yeah,
price?
for sure. Yeah, we actually, for them, it was much more about their legacy. Again, this is what I've found a lot of times. These things have been family owned. Typically it was a lot of times grandpa came home from the war in the 40s, started a business, and they're in the middle of the country. They're no different than if you're on the coasts. We own them, kind of all over the country right now. So that's the big thing, is that, it's like all small businesses. Well, maybe not all, but most of them anywhere from 2 to 5 times earnings type numbers. The more impaired they get, the lower that multiple is. We bought a few of them for 1 or 2 times earnings, but in the same thing, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of foundries across the country are already private equity owned. We're below what private equity or micro private equity would look at for individual shops. But now that we've put all these things together, certainly have a lot of conversations with the private equity guys or strategic buyers that are interested in what we're doing. But we're not for sale. We're going to keep, I own 100%, done everything with debt. We're now past the place where, we're into traditional debt financing. So, now it's just as fast as we can
Yeah,
find
you
them
can't.
and roll them up.
Yeah, you can't. You can only borrow, what is it, $5 million from SBA in a 10-year period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can get up to a total, and there's a lot of banks that'll get you a secondary loan to get you to, 7, 8, $9 million. But, once you get into that 15, 20 and above, yeah, anytime you get, I mean, they used to kind of a hard number was $5 million before you get into traditional financing. They're becoming a little bit looser with that over the last few years. Just has been so much money sloshing around in the system. But at the same time, this is really, I would say, an interesting market that, once you get to it, it doesn't look any different in traditional financing when you get above that $5 million for
Yeah.
sure. So
Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you're a subscriber by clicking on this button right here down below. And if you want to watch more serial acquirer interviews, click on this button right here. If you're ready to buy your first business, get my course at dealflowsystem.net right here. Take care. Cheers, John.